The story of Bernadette of Lourdes. Bernadette Subaru was born on the 7th of January, 1844 in a town called Lourdes, located in the Pyrenean Mountains of France. The town's population at this time was approximately 4,000 inhabitants. It had medieval monuments, restaurants and cafes, modern residential areas as well as poorer slum areas. It also possessed several stone quarries which were mined for marble and slate. Bernadette's parents, François Subaru and Louise Castret, were married in 1843. Through poor financial management and external forces, over a period of time, the family became quite poor and went from living in a large mill and workplace to cramped, damp living conditions, which was known as the cachot, otherwise known as the dungeon. Because it had once been used as the town's prison before it was judged as too unhealthy for this purpose, even by 19th century standards.
This is where they let him live. Subaru, the miller, made the finest flour in the stock, lives in a jail. It's too cold and damp for prisoners.
In these conditions, the Subaru family would experience cold, hunger, unemployment, alcoholism, and infestations of lice. Even their furniture was seized by a landlord in lieu of rent. Bernadette had 6 brothers and 2 sisters. Only 3 of her siblings lived beyond 10 years of age. Bernadette at the age of 6 developed asthma, and ate very little.
What is it, Mary?
I just wanted to say that my sister Bernadette was sick the day the class learned about the Holy Trinity. She misses school a lot. She's always ailing.
What ails her?
They call it asthma or some such name.
You trying to say asthma?
Yes, sister, that's what Dr. Dizou calls it. She can't breathe. Sometimes she sounds just like this.
Laughter wastes valuable time. Return to your studies.
In 1855, Bernadette caught cholera when the epidemic reached Lourdes. During the 19th century, cholera, a disease of the small intestine causing severe diarrhea, vomiting, muscle cramps, and imbalances in electrolytes due to dehydration, spread across the world from its original reservoir in the Ganges Delta in India. 6 subsequent pandemics killed millions of people across all continents. Despite this, Bernadette somehow survived. Her mother stated that it left her even more feeble and sickly than before. It had permanently damaged her digestive system. Her sister recalls that she could not eat maize or bread, which were staple foods for the poor. Bernadette in her early years spent time taking care of her younger brothers and sisters. She also knitted and sewed. She was very quiet and self-contained, and never complained about her lot in life. Due to their poverty, Bernadette really only had 1 set of clothes which were second-hand. She wore a full modest dress, and had a shawl over her shoulders. She also wore a cotton scarf knotted to the back of her head in which she was always veiled. Bernadette's education was almost non-existent as her main occupation was looking after the children. In the absence of formal education, Bernadette learned all she knew from her immediate environment. Despite their irresponsible ways and decline in society, the family maintained their religious faith. Among their neighbors' recollections of periods of drunkenness of the mother and general domestic disorder, it is also mentioned that the family could be heard saying their prayers together every evening.
Sit down, all of you.
Oh, please don't, Madame. I'm not a bit hungry. I'll just watch the others. Their Father, Son, Holy Ghost. The one that eats fastest gets the most.
You Where did you learn that?
You'll go to hell for saying such a thing. All I said, the one that eats the fastest gets the most, and it's true. Now you've said it again.
I've seen pigs with better manners and cleaner faces. Get up from that table and go wash yourselves. Both of you.
Oh, a mass meeting here, How can anybody sleep with such racket?
We're sorry, Papa.
It's cold in here. Somebody fix a fire.
There's no wood.
So, I'm to get the wood too. I work hard all day long. All I ask is a little peace and warmth. What do I get? Cold and chills.
Bernard Castret stated that Bernadette had a rosary. She hardly ever went to school because of work and poverty, so the rosary was her school work. Therefore, Bernadette knew the Lord's Prayer and the Hail Mary, including the mysteries attached to the prayers. Her family also recited the prayer revealed through the miraculous metal visions of 1830. Long before 1858, Bernadette was habituated to visions, shrines, miracles, and the overwhelming importance of the Virgin Mary. Bernadette lacked religious instruction, but not information about the practice of the Catholic faith. Likewise, she was without secular education, but was not entirely unskilled. The daily work at home was a type of activity which would occupy her for the foreseeable future. Unlike her mother, she had a natural sense of order and was very adroit. The only paid work Bernadette would encounter was to be a nursemaid and to embroider articles for sale. These skills were assimilated by the time she reached the age of 14. A woman by the name of Marie Legs, who was once Bernadette's wet nurse, and continued to have close ties with the Subaru family, had gained permission to have Bernadette live with her in Bartra in 1857. The Legs family were in many ways the reverse image of the Subaru family. They were well off and respected. Bernadette had visited Marie Legs' home as a guest in the past. Their home in Bartra was about 1 hour's walking distance from Lourde. In their home she would partake in caring for their children, and looking after a flock of sheep. The relationship between Marie and Bernadette from witnesses is ambiguous. Some statements shed a positive light, and others a negative one, with nothing really being confirmed. Bernadette's total stay at the Lakes was between 6 months to a year. She visited her home at least once during this period. In 1858, Bernadette's desire to receive Holy Communion brought her back to her home in Lourde in January. The family's material situation was unchanged. Bernadette was able to attend school at the Sisters of Nevers and subsequently enrolled in catechism classes. The family were contemplating sending Bernadette back to live with Mère Legouze in Batras, however. This idea would be swept away with the events which began on the 11th of February. That morning, while Bernadette was preparing food for the family, she realized that they had run out of wood for the fire. So the mother sent Bernadette and Toinette out in search of wood, accompanied by their neighbor's child Jean Abadi.
I'll go hunt for wood, Papa. May I go with Mary and help Mama?
No, you'll do no such thing. You know how easily you catch cold.
Mama, dress real warm. Mama, please. Mama.
All right, all right.
Mama.
Only wrap up good.
Mama, can I go too?
No.
Oh, but please, Mama.
You'll stay in this house and spend the rest of the day asking God for forgiveness.
They left Lourde area and followed the Gave River, gathering wood, and on the way, the bones were to be used to make fertilizer and sold. They eventually arrived at a point where the hills by the river begin to extend upwards, nearly as steep cliffs.
You'd have been scared too. There's the wood over there. Come on, follow me.
There was a hollow in the base of the cliff, at the very point where a millstone joined the Gave River. It was the grotto of Massabielle.
No way to cross.
The girls wanted to cross the river and took off their sabots. Bernadette hesitated as she was wearing stockings, and could not so quickly approach the water. She was also daunted by the cold. The others had crossed the icy water up to their knees. They began to bicker as they crossed over, and left to her own devices, Bernadette began to look for a better place to cross, as the others went about looking for wood on the other side.
Jump across the rocks or something. Yes, and tumble in. And when you fall in and get your bottom wet, don't ask me to wring you out. But if I dry my feet real
After not finding anywhere suitable to cross, she sat down and began to take off her shoes. She then started to take one of her stockings off when her first encounter with the supernatural began. Her attention was caught by rushing wind which made the trees rustle. She looked at the poplars which bordered the cave, but they were still. She was occupied with taking off her second stocking when the same sound occurred. She turned toward the grotto and noticed a movement of a branch near the opening of an oval niche. This niche was an oval hollow in the wall of the grotto. A sort of cave within a cave. Although of natural formation, it could have almost been made for its current purpose, as an alcove to display a statue. From this cove came a dazzling light and white figure. Suddenly Bernadette regained her normal appearance and looked around.
I thought your asthma had killed you.
Don't just stand there. Come on. You know we've got to get home before dark. I'm coming.
Then she picked up her shoes and waded through the water.
What cheat you two are. This water is as warm as dishwater. You've got bats in your belfry. That water's freezing. Well, it isn't now. Look, my toes are not even white.
What were you doing over there, kneeling in the rocks?
Didn't you see anyone? Who? Was somebody with you in that cave? Oh, somebody was. And you were praying for forgiveness.
John, come on, tell us who it was.
Well, if I tell you, you must swear not to give me away. If Mama should hear of it, she might take a stick to me. I swear. I'll give you my word, but I won't swear. Swearing like that's a mortal sin, and you don't want me to sin like that just before my first communion, do you? Oh, come on, tell us. Well, I saw a lady, and she was all in white. A lady? And she wore a blue girdle, and had a golden rose on each foot. I've never seen anything in my life so beautiful. Oh, Pip. What would a beautiful lady be doing in a filthy place like that? I don't know. But she was there. Truly she was.
During their return, Bernadette spoke of seeing a beautiful white figure in the grotto. Upon seeing her, she took out her rosary, but her hand was frozen, unable to make the sign of the cross until the lady did so. She was not sure if it was an individual or an object. Bernadette stated, "I saw something white, which had the appearance of a lady." She elaborated that the lady was holding a rosary and she was dressed in white with a blue sash. Bernadette's companions were not overwhelmed by her statements and accused her of trying to scare them. After they said this, Bernadette fell silent and proceeded to carry the wood on her head. Tuanette was astonished at her stamina, as normally her stamina was very low. She outpaced both of them on their return, and she offered to carry Tuanette's load as well. Bernadette was immediately transformed from this experience, physically and in her relationship with others. The inability to feel cold and hot is a recognized symptom during trance states. This would appear more dramatic in later visions. Upon returning home, they told their parents what had happened. It was received unenthusiastically.
That's all exciting, because she says she saw a lady at Master Biel, all dressed in white, with golden roses on her feet.
What on earth are you talking about?
That's what she told us.
Golden roses on her feet.
She said this lady was standing on a rock and smiled at her. She had a rosary of pearls and a golden crucifix and a...
You told on me, and you said you wouldn't. Mama asked me.
What's this foolishness Mary tells me?
It's true, Mama. In the cave at Massabielle, I saw a most beautiful lady.
A lady? What lady?
I don't know. Suddenly she was there, and then suddenly she disappeared.
Oh, nonsense.
Oh, no, Mama, she was there. Her face was so beautiful. Just to look at her made me feel...
Sylvia Road, you hear what she says?
I heard. And I know why she says it, too. She's showing off. Makes up a story to feel important. It always starts the same way with fairy tales.
But after a period of time they were touched by fear and stated that it may have been some sort of supernatural event. They prayed to God as it may have been one of our relatives in purgatory. Peace was not to come to the house that evening, and the atmosphere remained unsettled. Bernadette went to confession that week. Abbé Pamain was the priest. She confessed the vision to him. He was the first priest to have the honor of hearing the story. It is not clear why Bernadette would recount this event in confession, as it is not a sin. The parents may have told her to confess this situation to a priest in hope of settling the issue.
The lady told me.
What lady?
The lady in Massabielle.
Don't know her.
She's the beautiful lady who always comes to me.
Is she from Lourde?
No, Your Reverence.
Have you asked her name?
Yes, but she gives no answer.
Perhaps the lady is deaf and dumb.
Oh, no, she speaks to me.
What does she say?
Just now the lady said, "Please go to the priests and tell them a chapel is to be built here."
Priests? What does that mean? It appears your lady is a confirmed heathen. The very cannibals have priests. We Catholics have religious, each bearing a specific title.
But the lady did say priest.
Well, you've come to the wrong place anyhow. Have you any money with which to build a chapel?
Oh, no, I have no money at all.
Then you go back and tell your lady that if she wants a chapel, she'll have to provide the money.
Yes, Your Reverence.
And you can also tell her the Dean of Lourdes doesn't consider it very fitting for a lady to climb barefoot on rocks and to send gibbering adolescents with messages.
After Mass the following Sunday, 14th of February, a group of girls approached the Subaru parents and asked them if they could allow Bernadette to return to the grotto. Against their better judgment, they allowed it. So following this, a sizable group of children returned to the church and got some holy water. At the grotto, Bernadette knelt down. The vision appeared again, and a girl by the name of Marie Hillett recommended that Bernadette throw holy water at the vision, while pronouncing a formula of prayer which repelled devils. If you come from God, advance. If you are from the devil, get thee hence. Bernadette began unwillingly to do so. At this point she appeared still with a fixed stare. She seemed entirely altered. The brisk Marie Hillett decided to act, saying, Wait, I will get your white lady. She threw drops of holy water at the niche. At that moment Jean Abadi arrived late and ran to the top of the grotto, overlooking the entire scene. She was annoyed that the others did not wait for her, and in recompense threw a large stone at them. The stone hit the ground and shattered without harming anyone. The children became upset as they thought the stone had fallen from heaven. Bernadette at this stage was in a trance-like state, unaware of what was going on around her. According to one of the 12 girls present at the cove, Bernadette resembled an angel, but we believed her to be dead, and at the sight of her, we all cried. One of the girls ran back to Lourde to tell Louise that I had killed Bernadette. Others ran to a nearby resident, a man by the name of Antonin Nicolau. He rushed to the grotto to find Bernadette kneeling on the ground, appearing unaware of her surroundings, with tears running from her eyes and smiling. He remembered her face was more beautiful than anything he had ever seen. Unable to arouse her, he picked her up and carried her away. She remained in that same state for some time. Those present stated that she continued to believe herself to be at the grotto and seeing the apparition. Bernadette's mother arrived at the mill near the grotto where Bernadette was staying. She was so angry that she had to be restrained. She was trying to hit Bernadette with a stick. Some of the children were struck by Bernadette's beauty also in that moment. Bernadette slowly recovered her senses. This episode would be unique, as never again would Bernadette be needed to be shaken out of her trances. Following the second apparition, the mother renewed the prohibition against going to the grotto. She understood that her daughter had seen something, but according to her, not the Virgin Mary. Although there were strong objections for Bernadette to visit the grotto again, she went there 16 more times. During the visions, the lady requested prayer and penitence, asked for a chapel to be built at the site of the grotto to carry out daily processions, and eventually she led Bernadette to a spring that is believed to have miraculous healing powers.
Eat of the plants.
At last you've seen with your own eyes what we officials have known all along. That this story of the Blessed Virgin was born in a sick and warped mind. You've been duped by an idiot. I beg of you, go back to your homes and never return here again.
Antoine, I told you not to hope too much. I knew it would not bloom. You must learn to expect nothing from God. When you get nothing, you will not be disappointed.
Keep still. Go away and let me alone.
From the time we are knee-high, they tell us the Blessed Virgin is loving and good. Was she good to that girl just now? Was she good to me? Me, Bourriette, the finest stone carver in Lourde. I'll never forget that day. I was carving a statue for the church. A chip of marble flew off my chisel and hit me in the eye. And as quick as that, I was no longer a stone cutter. That's how the Blessed Virgin repaid me, by throwing a stone in my eye.
Despite objections and doubt by the local mayor, judges, physicians, and even been detained for questioning by the police, Bernadette maintained a calm, humble attitude. On March 25th, the lady revealed herself to be the Immaculate Conception.
Immaculate Conception. Do you know what it means? I am the Immaculate Conception. Don't be afraid, my child. I sent for you to help you, not to scold you. Well?
No, Your Reverence. I do not know what it means.
Do you know the meaning of the word immaculate?
Yes, I know that. An immaculate thing is clean.
Good. And conception? Well, we'll leave that for the moment. Do you know what we mean when we speak of the original sin?
Yes. The original sin was committed by Adam and Eve when they did not remain faithful to God, but broke his command.
Father Pumian taught you that, didn't he? Now think hard. Didn't he also speak of the Immaculate Conception?
No, Father, I never mentioned that dogma. It doesn't belong to the pedagogic material of the elementary class.
Perhaps Sister Vozu discussed it.
I'm sure she didn't.
We must have heard the expression somewhere. I'll try to remember.
Maybe I've heard about it, but I don't remember.
Very well. I'll try to explain it. The Most Blessed Virgin Mary was preserved free from all stain of original sin, even from the first instant of her presence in her mother's womb. God did this for her because she was to be the mother of Jesus Christ. A most singular privilege of grace. Do you understand that, Bernadette?
No, Your Reverence.
Why should you? Great scholars have racked their brains about it for centuries. But perhaps you can grasp this one thing. If the Most Blessed Virgin were to speak, she could not say of herself, I am the Immaculate Conception. All she could say would be, I am the fruit of the Immaculate Conception. Birth and conception are events, but a person is not an event. You can't say, I am conception, I am birth. Consequently, your lady is guilty of an inexcusable blunder. You must admit that.
So next time I see her, I will tell her, Your Reverence.
Excuse me, Father. I promised to look in on Madame Senac.
Certainly.
Goodbye, Bernadette.
Goodbye. Future of all the girls hereabout.
After First Communion, girls may indulge in proper pleasures. They go to dances, the festivals, meet young men. And after a time, to please God, they marry and have children. Wouldn't you like to be such a girl?
Oh, yes. I'd like to go to dances. Have a husband someday.
Then wake up! Now! Otherwise, life is at an end for you. You are playing with fire, Bernadette.
In June of that year, Bernadette received her first Holy Communion. In 1860, she moved into a hospice at the Sisters of Charity, where she lived, worked, and learned to read and write. In 1862, the Bishop of Tarbes authenticated the visions. In 1866, Bernadette joins the Sisters of Charity in Nevers. She takes the name Sister Marie Bernard. Throughout her life, she remained sickly but patiently attended to her duties as infirmarian and sacristan.
Subaru. Bernadette Subaru.
How old are you?
Just past 20.
What can you do?
Oh, nothing that amounts to much.
In the world, what would you like to have been?
I always thought I could have been a good servant girl.
Is that you, Sister Marie-Thérèse?
Yes, Mother Superior.
This is the mistress of the novices, to whose guidance you look from now on. This is Bernadette Subaru, a new postulant.
We know each other.
The postulant will start in the kitchen tomorrow. You will be asked to wash dishes, scrub floors, sweep corridors. In brief, do all the lowly tasks that need to be done. But please observe, I do not command you. I am merely proposing this. If you do not feel equal to it, or if such work is repellent to you, physically or spiritually, I wish you would say so now.
Oh, no, Mother Superior. I'm very happy to work in the kitchen.
Sister Marie-Therese will show you to your cell.
With your permission, Mother Superior, there is one other matter to be considered. The postulant bears a name which has made a great noise in the world. But among us, great names have no meaning. Although they may have been acquired through far greater effort, we disassociate ourselves from all we may have meant to the world, and all it has meant to us. Moreover, the name Bernadette is a childish and trivial diminutive.
Quite right. Before actually entering upon your novitiate, you will want to choose another name. Under the circumstances, it would be best to do so now. Have you given the matter any thought?
No, I haven't.
What was your godmother's name?
Bernard.
Then surely you'll be happy to bear the name of Mary Bernard, my child.
This way, Mary Bernard.
On 30th of October 1867, along with 44 novices, Bernadette made her first commitment to religious life. She would have liked to be sent to a community where she could take care of sick and poor people. As her health did not allow it, she remained at the mother house where she was given the duty of assistant nurse and the mission of prayer.
The cell is not to your liking, Mary Bernard.
Oh, yes, sister. It is quite to my liking.
You will learn to be comfortable in it. A convent is no prison. No force is exercised here. If you do not feel capable of our obedience, you will find the door is always open. Good night, Mary Bernard.
Good night, sister.
During the 13 years spent in St. Gildard, Bernadette was successively assistant nurse, nurse in charge of the infirmary, sacristan, and very often sick herself. Her life was simple and ordinary. Bernadette had a joyful character and was always available for whatever was required of her. I want my whole life to be inspired by love. She remained in the infirmary for long periods. She suffered greatly from a knee tumor and lung tuberculosis.
In that case, Father, we must notify the bishop immediately. He wants to hear from Mary Bernard's lips a final confirmation.
She died on 16th of April 1879, at the age of 35, and was buried in St. Joseph's Chapel in the center of the garden.
Sister Marie Bernard, we shall read to you the final protocol of the Commission of Investigation assembled in 1858. It contains a record of all the testimony which you offered at the time. We ask nothing of you except that you confirm that testimony. Do you feel equal to that?
On February 11th, in the year of our Lord, 1858,
I, Bernadette Soubirous, was sent in the company of my sister Marie and my friend Jean Abadie to fetch firewood in the forest. Do you confirm this?
Did see her.
At a location known as Massabielle, I rested, while my sister and friend crossed the River Gard. Do you confirm this?
I did see her.
For a time, nothing happened. And then suddenly I noticed
did
that the
see her.
rope that brought her was shaking. I thought this strange because there was no...
I did see her. I did see her. Lady won't come here, Your Reverence. I'll never see her again.
You will, my child.
No, I was stupid and lazy. I didn't even know what the Holy Trinity was. Where are you, Madame? Where are you? She's gone.
Behold, my beloved speaking to me. Arise, make haste, my love, my dove, my beautiful one.
I won't see her.
For winter is now past, the rain is over and gone.
I'll never see her again.
The vine and flower yield their sweet smell.
Never.
Arise, my love, my beautiful one.
Never.
My dove in the clefts of the rock, in the hollow places of
I'll
the
never
Show
see.
me thy face, let thy voice sound in my ears, for thy voice is sweet, thy face lovely. My beloved to me, I among the lilies, in the days and the shadows retire, arise, make haste.
I love you. I love you. Holy Mary, Mother of God, pray for me.
You are now in heaven and on earth. Your life begins, O Bernadette.
Her body was exhumed 3 times. In 1909, 1919, and 1925. Each time her body was found to be incorrupt. On December the 8th, 1933, the Feast of the Immaculate Conception, St. Bernadette was canonized by Pope Pius XI. St. Bernadette can still be seen incorrupt in the Chapel Nevers in a glass reliquary. Bernadette is not a saint because she saw the Virgin Mary, but because she lived the message of Lourdes.